Today, we've got a two-part series you're not going to want to miss. Everything is going to the language model, like your ChatGPT, your Gronk, but there's still people using the search engine like Google and Facebook. So I brought in a TEDx speaker, author, personal friend, and a subject matter expert in all things marketing. What is your view of SEO?
Search engine optimization. I look at any engine as something that I can optimize. It used to be where if I could get my website to rank, it'd be number one and I'd get all the organic leads. Not like that anymore. Now we need the content on the website to help bring content into AI models.
What's up, guys? Today, got a special guest for you. One of my buddies, William, here, and he is a marketing guru. So you guys know how I feel about marketing, how in tune I am with it. And I work with William on a lot of things. We work together. So I wanted to bring him in here, share some wealth of knowledge with you. And you also you've written books, you've done all kinds of things. But I don't want to introduce you. So tell everybody who you are, what you're about, what you do.
I've got Nozak Consulting. It's an SEO digital marketing company. I do have 2 books on Amazon, Digital Marketing Strategies, and another book, I'm Leaving My Marketing Company, teaching business owners how to leave their marketing company correctly, because it is a very, very tricky process, and marketing companies have a way of backdooring you on all the assets. So I wanted to teach kids in college all the things they need to look out for when they're doing the marketing for a business owner. I also have a marketing school, Search Hustle. I have an online shaved ice training company, online shaved ice training. I built the shaved ice company, 6 stands, and then I turned around and did a marketing program for it. I've got a SAB, a service area brand, similar to you. It's an in-home soccer training company, building that into a franchise. I work in a lot of franchises. I call myself a fractional CMO for over 500 companies in the last 10 years and 5 franchises, all the way from Tutor Doctor to OxyFresh, anyone from 50 locations all the way up to 600 locations. We really specialize in working on SABs, service area brands, and what we call emerging brands, franchises that are kind of going from 10 locations to 50. And then we have companies like yours that are taking on many markets and have very large plans and own all their things. And so, yeah, we work on all of those things.
Nice, man. Yes, like I said, I don't know, for one reason or another, I've gravitated towards marketing. You know that a little bit about me.
Yep.
And marketing's a huge tool, and if you're using it right, and there's a lot of marketing people out there too, right?
Yeah.
Some are good, some are good at one thing, some are good at a lot.
Some are great and really damn expensive.
Some are
too
great,
expensive.
Really, exactly. Yeah. So I mean, there's a multitude of avenues that we can talk about today. So by all means, probably not going to hit everything, but I'd like to get started with one thing, and I have mixed reviews on it personally, but I want you to tell me and tell the viewers, what is your view of SEO? And let's start there.
Okay. Search engine optimization. I look at any engine as something that I can optimize for. I look at social media's search engines. Facebook has a search engine. Instagram has their own engine. Of course, Google. We always talk about Google. That's the main place where people find us in Google, and that is shifting. And so we really are thinking of search, the word search, people that are searching, engine. They've built some sort of software that is moving people towards options or businesses or information. And then how can we optimize for that? So right now we've been, for the past decade, optimizing for Google. If we optimized for Google, really we would have optimized for Bing and DuckDuckGo and Yahoo all in the same optimization. Whereas now we've got new players like AI that we have to be paying attention to, how LLMs are changing the optimization landscape. And so everything that we've done so far to this point, optimizing for Google and users and not thinking of 5G, but thinking, I have low reception down in a valley. How is my information serving to this information or to this individual? And then also it's for search engine optimization. I'm thinking people that I don't have and people that I already have. So inside of search engine optimization, I will lump in CRO, conversion rate optimization, SXO, search experience optimization. So I'll put those people that I'm already going to get from all the branding that you guys do all the time, all of the messaging that you guys have across our whole state. We want to make sure that that non-line, what I call non-line, comes in and converts correctly. I consider all of that SEO as well. It's not just people that don't know me or people that are looking for my services and then coming in as a non-connected person. So they could come in directly on my website. How is my website serving to that person? They could come in from a yard sign or seeing my truck. How is my website serving to that person? And they could come in searching on a social media, seeing one of your videos where you're sitting on right behind me on one of these toilets or something. And they could come in through a part of our funnel. And there's many parts of our footprint that they could come in on. We want to make sure that we have done our due diligence, swimming up those different streams, and then making sure that that digital footprint, right, that website is the corner piece. But then there's no friction points getting those individuals down into the funnel. Of course, after they're into the funnel, then we're onto sales and tracking and a lot of those things. But yeah, that's search engine optimization for me.
Nice. So, side note, speaking of videos that I've made, last night, I don't get too many of these, so it just kind of stuck out to me as you said that. As I get a guy, he knows me. We've known each other for a long time. I see him at the gym, and I step into my house. It's later in the evening. I've been working all day. I've been to Oklahoma City, came back. I'm trying to get off the phone, and because I try to have that separation when as soon as I get home. I try not to do that much work.
Yeah.
And long story short, I knew better, but I was walking into my house. He hit me up on Messenger. He's like, "Hey, what's your number?" So I texted him my number. Like within 2 seconds, he calls,
Boom.
right?
Yep.
And he's like, "Hey, Service Master." I don't know if you've seen that video that I made or not, but I'm sure
I've seen 4 or 5 of them, and I feel like that rings a bell.
So I don't get too many of those, though, but I'm glad that the guy called because videos are important. If you guys that are watching doing ad videos, and we could talk about ads here in a minute, but I've always thought I wanted to do something different where people are going to remember. Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you may not have seen this one yet, but I did one where I'm like in front of all these containers back here. And I'm like, Tulsa.
Yeah, of course.
And then,
I've seen it.
And I go, I'm Eric, the Service Master.
Yeah, I've seen it. Yep.
These guys call me.
So he calls you with that tagline.
He called me with that tagline last night. And there's you can tell there's 3 other guys around him. They're all laughing and carried on. And then one of the guys is JB Reynolds, who I actually had him on my podcast. He owns a business called Benefit Medical in Owasso, and also does another one called Snacklebox. I don't know if you know what those are, but
I've heard of Snacklebox.
Yeah, so I don't know. He started it. He owns a couple companies, and I'd had him on here. I could hear him in the background going, "I fucking love it," And it's I was getting a little bit of gratification because I was trying to
confirmed.
Yep,
confirmed.
And I was telling him about it, but anyway, so I thought that was funny. So back to the podcast. Here's my thoughts, right? And you're like an SEO expert, I would say. That was was that one of your main focuses?
That's where
accurate?
That's where I jumped in this about 10 years ago. From an organic perspective, I've had to grow and expand.
Yeah.
Working with businesses, I've had to expand my ability to get outside of SEO, but I still, my major strengths personally are search engine optimization.
So let me ask you a couple hard questions. One in particular, and this is, I don't think I've ever asked you this, but this is what's on my mind, is as time progresses and ads are becoming more and more prevalent, no matter where we go, right?
Yeah.
How much does the ad space take up in let's just say page 1 of Google, right? Do you know what is the ads?
All of it.
All of it, yeah.
All of it.
Isn't that crazy?
All of it.
I don't know what the numbers are or whatever, but I noticed, right, as I'm searching through, you got sponsored, map sponsored, just sponsor this,
pretty much all of it.
Sponsor that.
So your question is where is organic?
Where do you think it's going? Because I see this the window shrinking, right?
Yeah.
Because
Been shrinking for about 5 years.
Yeah. So you want, like, in my mind, I want people to call. That's my goal, right?
Yeah.
Whether it be however they find me, right? They find me where I spend money. I got to understand how much I spent and how much dollars I'm going to generate from spending that money, right?
Right.
Well, SEO is the same thing, right? I think to me it's a little harder to track.
Some super impossible sometimes.
Yeah. So where do you think, in your expert opinion, we're going, or where's SEO going, say, in the next 5 years?
Okay. So to answer your question, is organic a part of the Viewport One in Google? Certainly not. You've got LSA for a service brand. I'm looking for a local service query. So when people search for you, they're looking for a local service brand. Mm-hmm. And so in a local service industry or query, that's a localized with intent query. So because we know there's a buyer at the end of that query, Google's going to sell ads to anyone that will buy. And there's going to be a lot of buyers. And so you'll have LSA ads, which if there's LSA ads available to you, that will be number one. Somewhere in that mix, you're going to have the AI options to just learn and read right out of the SERP. But then you're going to have your Google ads. So then we're not even down to organic. You'll have your Google ads, and then you'll have some bleeds with GBP ads. People that are running ads to show you their local footprint. Eventually, you will likely get to the local footprint, the GBPs, right? And that's as random as it gets, because you guys have thousands of reviews and you still aren't number one in the whole city, right? Mm-hmm. It's random. You'll have Joe Schmo over here with 3 reviews, and for some reason he's in position 2 today. And so, but overall, when we look at our query volumes across time, we should be going up in a positive direction. The local area SEO will be there for a long time. That's a Google product and it's free. That is something that you have to stack forever, because the search engines or the AI models, they already kind of use that for a big part of their ranking in their own models. And you'll look, the reviews help with that, the responding to those reviews, continually keeping that fresh and up to date and accurate, posting to it. That part of your organics, your local organics, is going to be there a long time. Now I get down to my website, organics, like Viewport 1, maybe at the bottom of Viewport 2, I'm in organics. Mm-hmm. If we're thinking I need people to go into that link, there will be link opportunities inside queries where that will work. But the main drivers will be driven, of course, by ads, your local snack pack, and then organic. There's thousands. I mean, if you look at your own Google Search Console, there's millions of impressions, millions. Keywords all over the place. Keywords up and down, left and right, every direction. So really, it's the hope of the organics to win for a lot of that. The organics and the content on the website will still drive your quality scores on your ads. They're still going to have some connection to your local map placement. It's all connected. It used to be where if I could get my website to rank, it'd be number 1 and I'd get all the organic leads. Not like that anymore. Now we need the content on the website to help bring content into AI models. And we still need to be investing in that, because as the AI models come about, where are they pulling that from? They're pulling it from our reviews. They're pulling it from our organic content and our blogs and what people say about us, and the small videos as AI gets better and better about reading videos, about what you say in your videos and the images that we use, and taking photography all the time. Like, photography is a part of that recipe when we file name files, and we've got really good file naming systems on the website, in our GBP, in any place that we can put it. You've got a podcast talking about the service industry and being a business owner in this in the service and rental industry. That's a part of this, what we call this graph that is your organic website. Organic website, still the cornerstone, but it's not necessarily in the 10 blue links like we historically knew it. Initially, it was the 10 blue links. All I had to do was find an SEO company. I get in that top query position, and boom, all of a sudden I've got 10 leads where I had 2 leads. It's different. So now we're juggling many things. One, we're juggling the people that hit our website from offline when they drive by your toilets on the street, and like there's your truck and your guy's having a blast driving down the street holding the dumpster, a toilet, and he looks over and calls the number, or not calls the number, but like gets home and puts in the website and actually has a good experience on that website. that is a part of your website and your organics, because those are reverse signals that tell Google, okay, when people are looking for these things in the web, they're going to find it. I can send our generic surfers to your web property, and we know they're going to get what they need when they hit your web property.
So let me ask you this. Because it's shrinking, but I understand it's tied into everything
Changing.
else. Okay, there you go.
Changing.
All right.
Because we have to change with it.
Do you see it changing much more other than what you're talking about? Because I heard you mention, and I'm glad you brought that up too, is I heard you mention AI models, right? So give me some specifics on what you mean by that. Are you talking ChatGPT?
Yeah.
That kind of
Chat, Bard, Gronk, all of them.
Okay. So what you're saying for my own self to understand better, and probably for some of the people that are watching, people are going to end up getting onto some kind of a ChatGPT, right? And they're going to say, where can I find a dumpster near Tulsa?
People aren't going to do that. They're doing that.
Okay.
I have tracking of that.
Okay.
They are doing that. I can see that now. So LLMs, these large language models, they are taking the organic queries away from Google. Google has abused their power. One day we're going to look back and we're going to talk about, wow, I can't believe for 15 years we went to Google and randomly selected some option out of these 10 results and 8 million results. People are now, you go to, the LLMs have to get better. Like, they don't show images, they don't show reviews necessarily. They don't give you the beautiful footprint that Google does. Google still has that. The visual, the YouTube videos, the podcast bleed, the organics, the ads, the map. It's still better for a consumer to go there.
I see what you're saying.
They can read that. But eventually, as LLMs and Gemini and Gronk get better at presenting for business owners, we're just going to have to make sure that our presentation there makes sense. And what can we do when we find out what they're feeding in? What can we do to make sure we've got a new line of info feeding in a new spot? And so how can we be the top option there? We still have time, and we're watching it as it's evolving, but it is evolving right in front of us. Yeah, I mean, it's always going to be relevant. Organic searches are always going to be relevant. I now go and look for local service companies in Gemini all the time. Now, I'm probably a early adopter when it comes to AI. I have to be. I'm not naturally an early adopter. I am usually a early majority to late majority. I like something to have crossed the chasm from innovator across to early majority late. I don't like to be tested on when it comes to things. I like it to be fully tested. So I have to be early adopter when it comes to Gemini and the AIs. I go in there and they're already starting to solve long queries, short queries for business owners. Organics doesn't go away. It just changes how it presents in Google, and people are still going to not try to hit ads when they don't have to. Right now, it's so easy to hit an ad, and so as business owners, we have to recognize that. And at the end of the day, we're trying to get leads and trying to track, on every $10, how many leads can I get? And how many leads do I get if I get 10 leads, $1 a lead? Well, how many of those do I close? Do I close 2? Well, it's a 20% close rate. And so I can start tracking the return on my investment. Organics, it gets trickier and trickier because people come in directly on the website. Google doesn't even show us the data that they used to. They cloud out like 40 or 50%. So now it's more than ever trend analysis. And we're going to get better data inside LLMs eventually because Google's been blacking us out on that information. We'll probably get better data there. People are annoyed by all the ads in Google. Google's set their own grave. And they became an ads model. They came out and told us we're not a search engine for organics several years ago. They said we're an ad company. Well, people, we don't want that anymore. We want to know who the best option is. And we're starting to trust AI that it probably knows better than all these SEO companies that have been gaming the system for business owners.
So you think, it sounds to me like you believe it's going to, because of how powerful these language models are, right? That do you think it's going to shift kind of back to finding organically, it's going to be able to dissect the information? You don't think it's going to be a ChatGPT or a Gronk is going to have a bunch of ads everywhere. Same type of. You don't believe that's going to happen?
I do believe it will come because that's just the name of the game in all things.
Yeah.
Anyone that can make money off of their software should make money off their software. Yeah. And so I do think it will get there, but the early versions of it, just like the early versions of Google and Yahoo, where business owners that got in early with SEO there, they grew exponentially. And then as long as they've got the client list and they've done a good job with their service and product, they were able to keep those clients and grow with them and grow on top of that. And so right now, you guys have been collecting emails and clients and building your name brand in the city, and that's one thing you guys are really, really good about is you guys are always branding. To me, you will always win if you're branding all the time. Not every business can afford that. You guys afford a lot of things most businesses can't. Branding is one of them. SEO is a long game. Not every business that gets in that's not established can jump right into SEO. They just can't. You guys have been there long enough where you're investing in the long game, search engine optimization, you invest in your ad strategy, and your branding is always in your face everywhere. Everywhere you go, you see your products and your name. So no different than Stanley Steamer. When I type in Stanley Steamer, I don't even have to type in carpet cleaning. When I type in the words on call in Tulsa, or maybe I have to add the words on call services, Google knows what I'm talking about. Google knows in our market and soon in our other markets what those words mean. Stanley Steamer, carpet cleaning. On call means these things. That's a part of your organics. It's a part of your ads. It's a part of your videos. It's a part of all the things you do. So we create our own branded term, which is what Google wants. And I think that will always pay dividends no matter how searchers change where they find businesses.
So as far as a marketing company's perspective, all right, I'll talk about your perspective first. Sounds like you're already looking into these LLMs, right? Mm-hmm. In my perspective as a business owner, it didn't really register that people are getting on there already and searching for us.
Very early.
Right? So you're saying it's very early. When do you think somebody like myself should be somehow tied in marketing to LLMs? I don't know how to say that right, but I'm sure you know what I mean. Mm-hmm.
Well, you're a business owner that kind of likes to know things about the different parts of the marketing strategy, right? You want to be able to talk about it, ask questions. So you're curious of when should you scale up enough where we can talk about that. Mm-hmm. We've recently added scripts to several Google Analytics so that we can track queries that lead to the website. So we're just now getting some of that data. We've tested it to make sure you're findable there. Our clients are all findable there, depending upon what query you use, right? And so now that just because you're findable there doesn't mean there's query volumes. So until we get query volumes that are significant and we can kind of see how people want to use that, we can't really develop a strategy. We can only make sure that we're doing correct things to rank in LLMs as they start to develop maybe their own algorithms outside of Google algorithms, and maybe they want a different resource besides a sitemap. Maybe they want some sort of LLM sitemap. Those are things that will add to the property as we get privy to that and understand, hey, LLMs want something other than sitemap. We add those things, and so I wouldn't say. Right away, I would say you're doing the right things, making sure so a business owner should be top level marketing mix, understanding your marketing mix, not necessarily a sharpshooter or needing to be able to talk fine details within a pie of your mix. You certainly need to understand your mix, and then you should understand your client demographics so that when we talk, when I and you say, how do I get new clients? Then the first question that we would need to ask you is, well, tell us the demographics of your clients. Tell us the socioeconomic status of your clients. So then we can go look at some additional channels and be like, okay, you told us this is your client, whether it's a husband or wife, or we can't tell, or we know it's 18 to 25, or it's not 18 to 25, and we know it's 28 to 35 making over $200K a year, or somebody that moves into a new home and they're looking at the websites where you look at homes that you're buying, realtor, stuff like that. So as long as you've got some ideas or things you know about your clients, then you can start saying, here's my current marketing mix. what am I missing in regard to my marketing mix? That could be me coming with suggestions. That could be outside of digital marketing, and that could be billboard. That could be radio. That could be television. But it's really understanding our demographics, understanding our current marketing mix. What percentage of the market do we have there? Are there other modes or channels that we're missing out with that make sense to our marketing mix? Mm-hmm. And then can we track that? If we test it, are we going to test it long enough? And is there, some case studies from other companies that have used it that have proven that it's a profitable way? Do we understand that it's maybe just share of mind? And at the end of the day, it's not a lot of businesses invest in share of mind. Very large businesses do. Most that I work with do not. We know it's just name brand. People see our name, and when they use us, then they remember our name. Or is it share of market? I spend $10 and I can track leads. If we understand that the things in the mix we're looking at, but in those two lenses, then we can come about it with a correct perspective. So as a business owner, with all the things in your expansions and your acquisitions, and you if you have to learn details, you have a wrong marketing company. You need to be thinking not 30,000 foot view, but helicopter level, 10,000 foot view. Marketing mix, where, like you've been asking for the last year, where is our map? Okay, let's unroll the marketing map here and talk about where are the leads coming and what costs and what are the demographics.
Thanks for watching today's episode that's specifically on SEO. And as you can tell, this guy knows his stuff. But stay tuned for next week's episode where we're going to break down ads and websites. See you next week.